Well, hello, everyone. I'm going to guess that maybe you had some friends before this game that said, I don't need to go to the LAFC game. They're going to be missing 14 players. What could possibly happen? I'll tell you what happened. They scored 4 goals, and we finally won. And it's all because of Jem Munoz.
You're welcome, LAFC fans.
Munoz is our good luck charm. This is the 110 Football Instant Reaction post-game show in partnership with Adidas. I am Vince LaRosa, Jessica Black, and our good luck charm, Jem Munoz. Wow. I mean, wow.
Speechless.
4 goals. So I had this weird inkling that this was one of those games that maybe SKC could look past us. Could we have ever imagined this result?
No, I couldn't have. And honestly, just right now, I got my clean sheet. I'm more excited about.
You were super fired up about that clean sheet.
I was screaming clean sheet because I just think it's important for this team to be defensively solid. And I think today, even though there were some mistakes, they still stayed compact and they did what they needed to do. So I'm excited about the 4 goals, but the clean sheet is what I really I'm going to take home tonight.
Oh, give me the other side. You got to be excited about goals.
Oh my God, who doesn't love goals? I mean, come on, especially 4 against Kansas. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better night, honestly.
And there were nice goals. Like, we don't get very many set-piece goals. Mamadou Mbake fall. Incredible. I mean, we knew that this kid was special. But when you see him score the goal and then the automatic connection, how can you explain that for such a young guy?
Exactly, and they were so perfectly placed, too. I mean, that takes a lot of focus, and I'm sure you know and you know as well. Like, that was incredible.
Well, we know that we can't, like, set pieces, like, our delivery's not good, our finishing's not good, and today everything was on.
But you know what? Atuesta did, I think he had the cross in the All-Star game to Murillo.
He did.
And he did the exact same thing for Mamadou Fall. So the delivery is a lot better. And I think when you just have that kind of, I don't want to say it's not skill, but that youthful exuberance. You know, you want to make up for some of your leaders being gone. We asked for somebody to step up. It was Mamadou Fall today, and I couldn't be happier for him. 2 goals. I mean, we saw him in games prior, and it was about his ball-playing ability, and now he's showing that other part of his game where he could be a threat in the opposition goal. So, I mean, well played for him, you know?
Well played indeed. If you're in the chat, get at us. Well, we want your reactions. There was a lot of different interchanging pieces in this. A lot of players that hadn't seen time that played pretty well. So I'm going to single out Bryce Duke. I thought played pretty well. Even Chrysostomo. It's such a hard name to say.
It is.
Got it.
In just like a cameo performance. I know we were up by 4 goals, but I thought he was good to come in and do some things. Alan in the chat has lost his voice. That's fine, Alan. You can still type, which is great, and you're watching us. We still have our voices, so we'll talk you through this. Before we get to our headlines, Jen, was there somebody that just stood out to you in the match? Not your stock rising, just someone just slow played a little bit, someone that you kind of just liked what they did out there.
It was. I was talking to Jessica about it. Bryce Duke, I think that kid is not afraid to pass or give that dangerous pass, and obviously, you know, he makes some mistakes, but I think he is a well-rounded center mid and is only going to get better from here.
If you're a center mid and you're seeing windows, and yes, maybe you make some mistakes, you can forgive those, right, if that's what you're going for.
Of course, and I think when you take more risks when you're playing balls through the lines, you know, they're not going to be 100%. The last thing you want, I think, from a midfielder sometimes is 97% pass completion. That means
that's called the Darlington Nagby.
Exactly. It's like, you know, you don't want somebody stat padding around the pitch. You want somebody that's going to take that risk, and sometimes that comes with some mistakes. But ultimately, we saw a lot of young players taking responsibility and trying to make things happen, and I think it worked out to the benefit of the team today.
Anyone for you? Again, don't have to give me your stock rising, just anyone that just kind of stuck out. Maybe someone that is not your stock rising that you want to point out.
Yeah, I think I want to just shout out Murillo. I think he's had some difficult games, made some mistakes, but ultimately he was the leader in the back today. And it's just important, with Eddie Segura gone, somebody needs to step up. And I've been looking for him to see if he could get the back line compact and secure. And I think he did a really good job today. So he's going to go under the radar, you know, because obviously we're going to talk mostly about goals, but Murillo,
and his
shout out to you.
Partner.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Shout out to Murillo. I agree with that.
about
Actually,
you?
I thought he had a clean game.
Yeah.
And when he doesn't have clean games is when he starts to drift into those trouble areas, and I think it gets in his head. So I liked that he had a clean game. Look, this first half was interesting. LAFC were up 1-0. I don't think they were dominant by any stretch. However, I would say that LAFC grew into that first half and stifled SKC a little bit. Did you feel that SKC started to feel like we're running out of answers for what's going on here?
Yeah, I definitely think they were running out of momentum. I think at first they had us a little worried. But then as soon as the goal started going in, I think they lost the momentum. And obviously, we're getting very frustrated, as you can tell with all the yellow cards. But
Stomping on guys.
Exactly.
Kicking balls into the stands. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think that I don't think it was necessarily so much about what we did. I think they made a lot of mistakes, and then once we started growing into the game, then it kind of evened itself out. And again, when you have a lot of young players out there that are just trying to make a name for themselves and make themselves counted, I think just that work rate really stifled SKC. But in the beginning, I do think it was more them not being able to find the final pass and stuff like that. And it worked to our advantage, so I loved it.
Well, Jen, that was your point in pregame. You got to step up. Like, the stars are not going to be there. 14 guys are not going to be there, but you still have to play a game.
Exactly.
And I think we all kind of said this, like, if they're going to do everything, they're going to have to cover every inch of this pitch, and they're going to have to kind of leave it all out there. Is that what you saw by the end of the game? I mean, you see Mamadou running into the stand, so clearly he's all about it.
Exactly. I think it was so nice to see them just step up like we were talking about and just give it their all. And you could see the passion while they were playing. I mean, it was incredible to watch. And I think you could definitely feel the energy. Everyone's leaving the stadium very happy, which hasn't happened in a while. So it was a good night for sure.
Well, I went a little bit longer on our kind of instant reaction, part of the instant reaction, just because we're so happy. I mean, 4 goals, a win to break this winless streak against an SKC team that is second in the West. It's a very good team. And
I was worried.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
were all
Yeah.
worried. I mean, I'm telling you, there's plenty of people that I know, you stayed home because you felt like, I can't take any more heartbreak.
Yeah,
But
you're
see
a
what you
loss.
see what you missed out on? But if you're new here, this is what we do. It's instant reaction. We have some kind of set things that we like to do. It's headlines. It's stock up, stock falling. So I'm going to go to headlines now. Jen, you're new. Do you think you could take the floor? I know you can do this because you're a central midfielder. You're used to controlling everything. What is your headline for this match?
Well, I mean, I've emphasized about 100 times, step up and show out, and that's exactly what they did. So mission accomplished is my headline.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
Mission accomplished. Jess, follow up on that. Mission accomplished. I mean, it was nervy. But at the end of the day, when you see the results, despite the nerviness, despite what you said, they didn't always play the best. Is that mission accomplished? Can Bob Bradley walk in and just go, guys, wasn't perfect, but love it?
Yeah, I mean, look at the team that he had together. I mean, it was pasted together with some glue and spit. I mean, this is not his first team, you know. So I think
gross.
I mean, it's true. I mean, it's definitely not a group of players that probably has played a lot of minutes together. You know, they were probably a little bit nervous, but I think you can walk into the locker room and say, "Hey, guys, you know, we can take this into the next game." And personally, for me, it's like, if you're Carlos Vela, you know, you're Brian Rodriguez, you're guys that are out, you're probably looking at this like, wow, these guys really stepped up. When I get back there, I'm going to make sure that I keep this momentum going, you know. So that's what I would be looking at. But yeah, game, you know, completed, done, 4-0, no goals against, 4 goals for. I mean, hey, mission accomplished.
Dark Frames is in the chat, and he agrees with us that Bryce Duke had a great game. I'm going to go back to you real quick, Jen. In your playing days, when you had that chance to step up, did you see it as an opportunity to seize it and say, well, they're not going to take me out of the team now? I mean, I know it's like kind of cliche that players play themselves out of teams, and I'm sure they keep themselves in the team. So how did you feel in those moments?
Yeah, I mean, I feel just exactly as you said. I mean, it was such a nice feeling knowing, I'm sure all of the guys are very proud of themselves, as they should, but it shouldn't stop there. Definitely keep working. I think they're going to go back to practice and just put even more effort and put even more passion to get better and, you know, be at that level where the starters are. And just like you said, the starters are going to come back and hopefully congratulate the guys. I mean, it's an awesome win. It's huge. So
is that the feeling in the locker room? Like when the starters, they kind of, because look, we all know the hierarchy. I know that some of these guys probably did play their way into a starting spot for the next game, but for the most part, look, if Carlos Vela's healthy, Carlos Vela's going to play. Is there kind of that camaraderie where the starters kind of say like, hey, good for picking us up, good for getting that? Does that happen?
100%. I think as a veteran, you definitely have been in their shoes where they're nervous. Obviously, you know, some of them aren't as confident, which is normal. But I think as a veteran, it gives you, you know, that platform to be like, hey, good job, kid. Like, keep working. One day you'll be in my shoes. And hopefully that continues down the road in this LAFC program.
Jess, normally I would go to your headline, but I got a good chat comment. Ben Cox said that the press is what worked. Our DPs do not press. Your rebuttal.
Whew. I mean, I would say that's a little harsh. I think as of lately, maybe our press has just fallen off overall as a team. I think in the first half, one of my notes was the press was not working. I think that there were some players that were just a little bit off the pace, maybe second guessing themselves and maybe not so comfortable. And as the game went on and obviously we became a man up, the press started to look a lot better. So I would say that's a little bit harsh on the guys that aren't here. I would say our press was really good with some of our DPs, but that's just how I view it. And I mean, that's mean. I hope Carlos Vela's not watching that. I hope none of our other DPs are watching that. That's harsh.
He's sitting there in the locker room right now tuning into this, and he's like,
that's harsh.
It's like, I hate that Vince guy. No. Jen, as a central midfielder, so one of the things that Jess pointed out was the kind of the switches. And LAFC really likes to stifle teams and keep them to one side of the field or other. But when the switch is on, you have to be keyed in to moving. What do you see from those central midfielders? I thought Poncho and Edward were good. What did you see from the central midfielders as they started to get better in the press?
Yeah, I think obviously at first they were kind of a little scattered in the middle, very disorganized. I think that Kansas was just switching the ball very easily to their right side. I'm sure we were looking
Johnny
at
Russell was on
about
the ball
10
quite
times.
a lot in the first half.
I think I counted like 4 times in the first 5 minutes. But I do think that as the game went on, they connected a lot more with their whole team and, just brought the team together and got them those goals.
Ben has also complimented me on shaving my beard. You don't know this. Well, you did see me real quick when you visited the studio. I had that really bad beard because they weren't scoring goals. They finally scoring 3 goals. Actually, I shaved it just before the Galaxy game, and they did score 3 goals. So, Nostradamus? I don't know. Jessica, I'm going to go to you now for your headline.
Yeah, so my headline is going to be, this wasn't Bob's Barcelona, but we'll take it.
Right.
We know that Bob wants to play pretty free-flowing football. He didn't have his Messi today, which is Carlos Vela. So I think things kind of fell apart a little bit. I kind of mentioned before that this wasn't the first team. And when you don't have your technical pillars or your technical leaders, Sifu, Carlos Vela, even Eddie Segura, things can fall apart. And I think in a lot of the periods of the game, we struggled to just do the basics. We struggled to just connect 5-yard passes, but this is when you just have to dig deep. And I think there were some players like Janela and Bryce Duke and Masovsky and players like that are fringe players that just did the hard work and they got the rewards for it. So I'll take that. In the end of the day, this team cannot just play pretty. They have to learn how to win ugly. And 4-0 may not seem like an ugly scoreline, but if you actually watch the game, what we were seeing. Definitely wasn't a classic, but we'll take it anyway.
Touch up on that, because when I used to play, and again, it didn't play at your guys' level, but when I used to play, if I was having a bad game, I would try to do something simple, whether it's a pass or even just a press or get a tackle in. Give me your philosophy on that when you're kind of down in a game, not just a rut in general, which LAFC was in, but when you're kind of down in a game, what kind of picked you up?
I think just like you said, playing that simple pass. I think if you make a mistake, forget about it. It happens, but what are you going to do to make it better? Like, is your next pass going to be better? Is your next shot going to be better? It's what you're going to constantly do and look forward to get better. And I mean, the boys did that. I think, like you said at first, it was just, giving simple balls away. But I think as time went on, they relaxed, got momentum, got the goals, like I said, gave them confidence, and slowly got better.
What was the Jen Munoz thing where like the coaches are like, she's not having her best game, and then it happens? Was it a big tackle? Do you blow someone up? Is it just a nice like slipped pass? What was or maybe even you just sidestepped someone and got out of pressure? What was the thing?
I just slide tackled. Okay,
right.
Just kidding. No.
No, come on.
Oh, I was like, that's my girl.
I mean, sometimes, but no. I think for me it was kind of just that my thing was long balls, those through balls, which we saw a lot today. So I think getting that nice long ball and that gives me a lot of confidence too. Okay. So then it kind of gets my momentum going, like I said, and yeah, that was my thing.
Getting the team out in transition.
Yeah.
Jessica, what was you slide tackled, right?
Slide tackle,
yeah.
Nice little challenge. I'm not gonna lie, I was always a yellow card away. That was me. I was always that girl. But hey, through balls help you as well, getting on the ball and doing things that you do well. That helps, but a slide tackle always helped me. So there you go.
Love it. I love it. I love that. Always a yellow card away.
Always a yellow card away.
Good to know. That should be in your profile.
Should.
I will go with my headline. I'll just do a quick one because I think it's going to transition us nicely into stock rising. The harder they come, the harder they fall. Think about it. All right, let's go. Come on, Mamadou Fall. No?
I think we were.
Come again.
Yeah.
one more time.
I have a journalism degree. I like the little puns. The harder they come, the harder they fall. First of all, it's a great Jimmy Cliff song. If you don't know it, check it out. But Mamadou Fall, no. All right, I fell flat on that one. All right. Do you guys?
Next time.
Am I too old?
Next
Jimmy
time.
Cliff?
I think
No
our
one?
headlines were good. We carried the group here. It's fine. We'll let it slide. It's fine.
I mean, you're the engine room. This is the engine room.
Exactly.
I'm just the goalkeeper rolling the ball out.
Here's a striker.
Yeah,
Remember?
just a striker.
I'm just a striker. I'm just a luxury player. Let's go to stock rising. Jessica, I'm gonna start with you. Who's your stock rising, or what was your stock rising in this match?
Yeah, my stock rising was actually Masovsky. I think this is a player that a lot of people have high hopes for, and I have to be honest, I never really saw it before. But today, I think he was instrumental in kind of getting us going and getting us up the pitch in hard moments. His direct play was directly correlated to that red card. And red cards aren't just lucky moments. You make your own luck, and sometimes it's just putting people under pressure. And he did that, and he put Espinoza under so much pressure that he lost his mind and went off the pitch. So for me, I think he did struggle sometimes, final ball, finishing, things that he will inevitably get better at. But he was a catalyst in us just kind of moving forward in that game and getting some momentum. So that's pretty much what I saw. And this is my attempt in trying not to give it to Mamadou Fall, because I think we all kind of just want to go ahead and give it to him. But Masovsky, good game for him as well.
Well, during the game, I turned to our producer, Jason. I said, I think Danny's got to start the next game.
Right.
Because the way he came in, basically the quickness with his thought was what was really good for me, because I thought when Danny doesn't play well, it's like you can see his brain moving.
Right.
You know those players where the ball rolls to them and you
Yes.
can kind of start to see their brain moving? It's because Danny's not slow. I mean, we saw it today. He was getting out in transition. He was running. But there's times where the ball's on his feet and you're like, one, too many touches, or it's too slow. I have a light going on and off on me here. It's a rough game for everyone. Light. Come
They're
on,
excited
man.
that we won. The lights are
I
excited.
know, the lights are just
yeah.
flickering. We're gonna have a party here. Okay, Jen, I'm gonna go to you now for your stock rising. And it's
Okay.
okay if it's Mamadou,
You
but if
know,
you have someone else.
it's not someone, it's what they did, which were the goals. I mean, who doesn't love goals? I mean,
Goals.
yeah, of course. That's my stock rising. Pretty simple, but I mean, 4 goals, that's pretty impressive. So
Well, goals change games. I know it's super cliche, but can you speak to it? Like, if you're SKC, you traveled all the way out here, what does that do to you, especially when you're like, hey, they're missing 14 guys?
They were confident. We have to be real.
Yeah.
going off that, I mean, how could you not be going into this game? I would have been like, okay, easy win. I mean, we're up there on the tablet and they're not. I mean, easy game to win. And I'm sure they were very surprised after the first 2 goals. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
And then as much as you're high up because you're feeling it, you're like, well, we'll take these guys 2 goals, and then you just down to earth.
Yeah, red card, that will take the wind out of your sails as well. I think you could just see the frustration, and I do think they probably went into this game really, really cocky, thinking that we're not going to have anything about us, but that is why you have to dig deep. We caught them out, and they'll probably get into that locker room and say, wow, we really took this for granted. You really can't take any teams for granted, definitely not LAFC. Sorry, you guys are the losers today.
definitely underestimated us for sure.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I thought first half they were good through parts of it, but really by the final 5 minutes of that first half, they were like, what do we do? We played the ball to Johnny Russell 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
He hasn't really found a way. He did have that one shot where it was like, he doesn't miss too many of those, but he did.
I think when you're dominating the game and then something against the run of play, like a free kick or something like that, doesn't go in your direction, it does take the wind out of your sails. And I've seen that before. And the good thing about what we did is we capitalized on that further, didn't let them come back into the game, and they just struggled. I loved watching them struggle. I liked watching them sweat. I mean, did you enjoy it? I mean, they were struggling.
I mean, just seeing their frustrations. I mean, foul after foul. I mean, all the yellow cards that we saw. How could you not love that? I mean, especially being up by 3-0, 4-0.
Right.
I loved it.
I loved that when it was 3-0, 4-0, they're still going for more goals.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
don't you? To your point, goals.
Yeah.
Goals are stock up. Let's get more of them. Let's get as many as we can because one, this team needs it,
Right.
and two, like if you can just get more confidence in every individual player, that is going to come together in a group. It's good for everyone.
Yeah, and that just shows the passion that these youngsters had. They definitely showed up and they wanted more, and I hope to see them wanting more the next few games.
Yeah. And they're at home.
2 games in a row with 3 or more goals. Just a couple weeks ago, we couldn't see it, could we?
No.
You know, that's a change in form. In my opinion, that's a change in form. Regardless of what players are out there or not, being able to score the goals, which is what we really needed, which is what LAFC is all about. Hey, you got to take it. You got to take it.
Well, we've said, you and I have sat here many a times, and Jen, you know this if you sat here with us many a times. We've said, they're kind of just a little unlucky.
Yeah.
sometimes maybe the balance of luck is starting to go a little bit more our way, and that's what we're seeing. Okay, so my stock rising, it's Mamadou Fall, obviously.
So
They
obvious.
left it for me, so I get to
Really?
just clean up. Hey, I'm the striker, and I'm a goal vulture. I'm Filippo Inzaghi.
Tap-in merchant.
But I mean, 2 set-piece goals, almost had like a hat trick of set pieces, and then the celebrations and the passion. I mean, we needed that. It was just like a breath of fresh air to see a young kid do something like that. I think even older players love that. They're like, yes, you feel it, kid, because you did something good. You should celebrate. Let's all celebrate. I love him getting into the stands. I loved all of it. So, Mamadou, sorry, you guys left. That was so nice.
That was
of you to
all
leave
yours.
that for me.
We left that tap in for you. But, I mean, with Eddie Segura out for the remainder of the season, isn't it nice seeing somebody step up, as a potential partner for Murillo when we go into the back four? Would you feel confident with Murillo and Fall playing in a back four together just as a partnership?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. And I would say, honorable mention, Sebastian Ibiaga getting his first start for
Yeah.
LAFC. I thought he was just solid. Like,
Did
That's
his
what
job.
you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
sometimes that's what you got to do, especially when you're a center back. Just do your job. Come on, center backs, just do your job. All right, this one might be a little bit harder. Stock falling. Jessica, I'll go to you first. What is your stock falling?
I got to go with Latif as a wingback. Not
Okay.
Latif in general, but Latif as a wingback. It didn't work today. And it may seem like I'm nitpicking and I'm being a little bit harsh because we did win 4-0. But I think if we had not won the game, we probably would have looked at his performance and said, wow, that did not work. I think he struggled with one-on-ones, which as a wingback, he has to be able to beat his man. I think he struggled trying to figure out when to press and when not to. He was often out of position. And just simple passes just to his teammates. I think he made a lot of the wrong decisions and he just looked a little bit shaky. I know that there were some hard tackles on him. He had a couple of times where he went down. I think he went down like 3 times. He bounced back up, as you said, he always does.
Latif, you can't break him.
And I love Latif, but he's definitely a central midfielder, and I don't really want to see him in this position again. I know he works really hard, but for me, it just didn't work today.
Did you feel like the second half was a little bit better, though, for Latif?
I think so. I think I'm going to have to be a little copycatter with her. But, I mean, it's just the vision. I think that he lacked vision tonight. And you can't do that when you have, Kansas just pressing and pressing, especially on the outside. So I definitely do think he was the
Well,
downfall.
it would be stupid of me not to talk to my central midfielders about this, since I have 2 of you here. Have either of you ever been shifted out to that wing, and how does that change your kind of vision, your awareness? I know, scanning is big for central midfielders. Obviously, you have to have a 360 view, but once you're at the touchline, it's a little different. So has that ever happened to you guys, and how did that kind of change your approach to the match?
Well, I think when you're playing in midfield and you're used to doing that and you know what your role is, especially when you play with a 3 and you're matched up with another 3, you just have to stick with your man. In today's game, they were doubling off on Latif and Raheem's side. They were often 2v1. So when that happens, you have to make a decision. Am I going to step to this person or am I going to drop off? And I think he got caught in no man's land a couple of times. And then when he got the ball and he was 2v1, he just couldn't figure out when to pass the ball and who to pass it to. Some of that may be a part of his teammates, maybe not knowing what they're supposed to be doing. Janela and Bryce Duke in there, maybe they're just a little young and naive. But I just feel like when you're a midfielder and you know what your role is just to be, aggressive and nippy and nip the ball off of people and then give it to your better technical players. That's what you're supposed to be doing. As a wingback, he has too many different roles, and maybe it's just a little bit too convoluted for him at such short notice.
Do you think he was a little bit more hesitant?
Yes.
Just because of lack of confidence, lack of knowing his role?
Yep, the formation change. I mean, we talked about that before the game. When you switch formations so many times and you're doing different things every single game, you can get caught out. I mean, we've seen Kim look like that as well. It's not the first person who looked a little bit uncertain in that wingback role. So I love Latif as a midfielder next to Atuesta doing his job. But in the wingback role, it's just too many different things to have to try to manage, and he just didn't do a good job at it for me.
Well, and I'm guessing because he played in central midfield against the Galaxy, trained central midfield all through the Galaxy, and then maybe trained a couple days at wing back. Jen, how does that change for you if you're like, hey, we're going to have you change positions, but by the way, you get 2 days to get to it? Like, can you really get a position down in 2 days, especially one like wing back?
Honestly, no, you can't. This is where we have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, you need a whole year to be a specialist in a position, and I think that obviously they didn't give him enough time maybe. But at the same time, definitely know your roles. But like we were talking about earlier, could see how he was hesitant on that. I mean, But at the end of the day, he is a midfielder, so we have to give him that. But yeah, I definitely do think he struggled with knowing or having a lack of training with that position.
Yeah, so daps to him for hanging with it. He did get better in that second half, but they both the wingbacks struggled at times figuring
Yes.
out what the distances they need to cover. And to our point, when we talked about switching, it was like the switch was on. It's on. Just get there. Don't wait for it. Just get there. And it was kind of wishy-washy at best for me. Okay, Jen, I'm going to go to you. Your stock falling.
Stock falling. I mean, I would have to go with what Jess said. I mean, just the whole wingback thing. I definitely don't
Wingbacks in
think-
general.
Wingbacks in general. I don't.
Do you not like wingbacks? Are you with me?
I'm not
I'm a
fan.
4-3-3 person, so are we team 4-3-3?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a fan. I just think that it gets people very disorganized, and I mean, sometimes people don't know the rules, and it's a mess.
But why were they able to maybe step it up tonight? Well, was it just the? I mean, obviously, it wasn't the formation. They gutted it out. What for you was the kind of allowed them to reach that level?
I just think it was the intensity of the game. I think it was I want to step up and play this game and show everyone why I put on this jersey, and that's exactly what they did. So I think it was a little bit of that. I don't know what you guys think, but
Yeah, I mean, we're still talking about wingbacks, right?
Well, wingbacks, but look, to your point, you both had wingbacks as a stock falling, which I can agree with. I did not love it, but they were able to get the win. They were able to raise their level. So what was it?
Oh, it was just
an
working. It
energy?
was just working hard. I just ultimately think especially once we had the man up, then you didn't have the mismatch in midfield anymore.
Yeah,
and I
2v2 in midfield
yeah,
now.
it just made it so much easier. And I do think they worked hard. Like, I don't want to say that wingbacks don't work because they were walking around or anything like that. It was just hard for them to figure out the distances, who to mark, when to press, when not to. But ultimately, I think Raheem worked really hard. I think Latif worked really hard. So it was a combination of the entire team just kind of stepping up, being a man up, and the game ultimately getting easier from probably the 45th minute on to the 90th.
Okay, all right. I just want to know how they were able to pull it out. My stock falling is Roger Espinoza. You knew what you did. You stomped on him. And then you had the guts to kick the ball into our crowd. Come on, guy.
who does that?
I
Come
think
on.
you're going to get more than one game off. I think you're going to have a little bit of a rest. So maybe you were tired. Maybe you weren't thinking straight. You're going to have a nice time on the couch for a little bit. You can't do that. I mean, we've seen with Kaku a couple years ago for Red Bull. It was a little more violent what he did, but you simply can't do it. And actually, if I remember correctly, I believe Kaku actually did that in Sporting KC. So that's kind of interesting that Roger Espinoza decided, I'll try that out. Let's
He's
see
not
what
welcome
happens."
back here.
No, he's not,
obviously.
especially
No.
after pushing one of our security guards.
Yeah,
Not-
come on.
Yeah, head of security Paul will definitely not like that you did that to one of his compatriots, so I just do not appreciate it. But all in all, look, we're happy here. That's why we're not talking too much about stock falling. Final thoughts. I will go first. My final thought was this. I thought we all felt like there was a chance that LAFC could do something special here, and it was just this weird vibe. But I said they would have to give a full performance from front to back, and they got a little bit of luck too. They got the goals to go in off set pieces. They got the red card, but at the end of the day, it came down to energy because it wasn't pretty a lot of times. So something to learn, something to grow on, and to the points we've been talking about for the veterans coming back, they'll say, "Hey, thanks guys. That means a lot to us. We know now that you guys got our backs, and maybe we can raise the quality next game."
I'd have to agree with that. I mean, I definitely don't think it was a pretty game, but got the 3 points, the first 3 points in a while. And I mean, come on, it's happiness all around. And I would have to say maybe it's also with us being here, I think it might be a good luck charm. So might have to come back.
Jen, you might have. I don't know what
I'm
you're
never
doing Sunday
leaving.
for the RSL game, but you might have to be back
I'll be here.
definitely
LAFC
think you
fans
need
will
to
be
be here.
upset if you're not. Of
course.
But yeah, I mean, look, everyone's gonna wake up tomorrow and be like, "That was the most beautiful game I'd ever seen." It doesn't
Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It's just the score. You just look at it and you just say, we just need to take this to the next game. We needed a little bit of luck. You know, we hadn't really been getting it, so it was our turn. And I really do believe that this might be a turn in form. I really do. I think we played well against the Galaxy. It just was one of those games where, you know, you give up some goals because it's a high pressure match. Today we didn't give up any goals, and we didn't give up when things got tough at the beginning of the game. So just take this into the next one, and we're going to get better players back. We're going to have more competition for places because people are stepping up. This can only be good for the team moving forward.
Is this like a season turnaround type game?
I was just going to say that. I think it's a turnaround. I think it's a time to, for everyone to be like, hey, I believe that we will win. And I mean, let's be optimistic now. I mean, as we should have been the whole season. But I mean, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think you never really lose faith, right? But you need that.
need
Something
to push,
has to happen.
yeah.
You can't just, you're like, oh man, I feel really good about this team, but then you can't go winless in 8 games and say like,
Exactly.
I
I
mean,
still think we're good.
You beat the second best team in the conference, right? Without
And quite handle it.
Carlos Vela, exactly. Without Diego Rossi, without Brian Rodriguez. I mean,
And Sifu. And Cheeky.
That's crazy.
Kim Moon-Wan.
Yeah, without Kim.
Amazing.
We
They
won't go
have
through
to
the whole
take that.
14-player
Yeah,
list.
we're like,
but
Yeah,
those
we're
just
not going to
the
go through
internationals
it,
and
but
Carlos.
yeah, for sure, they should definitely take this and be proud of themselves because this was a tough task. I don't think any of us sat here before the game thinking about a 4-0 win, right?
No. I
2-1.
thought they were scraped, maybe a 2-1, like she said. Jen, do you have a final thought? It could be anything.
Whew.
Maybe even like you could say like I didn't get to shout out this player, but I want to talk about them. Anything.
I mean, I just have to give a shout out to the whole team. I think I was just thinking about it. It was a team win. It wasn't any specific player. I mean, it wasn't just a one-person team. It was a team win. And also it was a community win. I think it's amazing that the LAFC community can celebrate this win tonight and look forward to the next few wins.
Again, imagine you woke up today, you said to yourself, LAFC has 14 players out. They're playing SKC. I don't need to go. You learned a valuable lesson.
Lesson learned.
Lesson learned. Jessica, your final thought.
Oh, wow. I mean, your guys' final thoughts were pretty much mine. The one thing that I probably would say is, I don't know. I just hope that this is a turnaround. I think it's been a really hard season. You lose two of the players that I feel like have been a part of the fabric of the team and Mark Anthony Kaye and now Diego Rossi. So there's definitely going to be some holes in the squad from that. But I do think we talked about this before the game. We have one of the best teams in the league. Like anybody would want to play for this team. And hopefully they can just take this into the next game and just get a turn of form because I feel like they deserve it. I don't think there was ever a lack of like trying or anything like that. It was just the luck, and hopefully this helps Bob as well. I think he's been under some pressure, trying new things, and it finally worked out for him, and he just got that lucky bounce. So I'm excited. I really hope that everybody enjoyed the game, and we can just, as a community, LAFC community, just take this on. We deserve it.
Yeah, just like relax.
Yeah, we deserve it.
It's a great team to play in. We have a fantastic stadium. We have amazing fans. I don't know if you can kind of hear it, but there's clapping going on over there.
There's cheering. People are
fans
smiling.
waiting for players to come out, and they're still cheering the players as
I
they
love
leave.
it.
So they're stoked about it. I want to talk about one last thing before we get out of here. We've all said that this could be a turnaround, but that means that this next game is so much more important, right? Is that has to be the mindset? It's like it's one thing to say it's a turnaround. It's another thing to show it. What is that talk in the locker room going to be like? I'm sure they'll have a couple days off. It's a Memorial Day weekend, but come, let's say Tuesday, what's that talk going to be like?
I think just keep that momentum going, get better. This was not a pretty game, but I mean, let's get another win and let's keep improving. I think the season's not over. So we have more than enough time to improve each and every player, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a youngster, and let's score 5 goals next time. You never know.
Love it. Anything to add, Jess?
I would just say that one of the most important people in this whole entire thing is probably going to be Bob. He's going to be the person that needs to kind of look at this performance and take out the pieces that worked and take the pieces out that didn't and try to figure out how to mend that with the pieces that are going to come back to keep us going. There were some really good pieces there. Mamadou Fall, Masovsky, you might want to start him, maybe try Bryce Duke. You might want to talk to Atuesta. Not to be negative, I do think he still needs to step up a little bit and then add your Carlos Vela back in there, add your Brian Rodriguez in there and see what you can mend together. I would hate to see him just throw this whole thing away and go back, because some of these players deserve to start in that next game, so that's how he's going to piece it together. I think he's the most important piece in this.
I love that. I want to tell you just a quick story about that because Bob told me this story once and I thought it was always really cool. So back in his Chicago days, Bob, by the time he goes home, will probably have watched this game at least once, maybe twice before he goes to bed because he's that type of guy. And he would normally, in these games, be like, it was 4-0, but this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong. And Peter Novak pulled him aside one time and said, boss, you got to just let them celebrate sometimes. And so Bob said that he learned that lesson. He lets them celebrate, so he will not nitpick today, but you can bet that at video on Tuesday or whenever they pick up
There's
training,
a list.
Yes, there is a list, and I believe that what you just said is so, so important because, like we said, it was not pretty, but we'll take it. So these guys need to take the good and the bad from this game and learn from it. That's it for us for the instant reaction. Just wanted to let you know what's coming up this week. It's going to be another Max and Vince podcast. It might be, it says Tuesday, maybe Tuesday night. It might be a little day late because there's a holiday, but we might have some good special guests because we're going to try to do it from a special location. Then Friday is the big show, and Sunday we're back again. We'll be on the LAFC app for the LAFC virtual tailgate, and then we'll also do the instant reaction. And Jen has to be there because she's our good luck charm. So,
Yay, I will be there.
thank you very much, Jen Munoz. Great debut. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, my midfield engine room. This was amazing. It was so great to talk about a win with all of you, and hopefully we get to do it again on Sunday. Bye, everyone. Camera up there, wave. Bye-bye.